Picture this. You've got an incredibly smart, highly capable employee, and they've just been asked to present a major project update to senior management. Now, on paper, they've got every single skill required for this. They know the data inside and out. But physically, they are completely paralyzed by fear. Just the mere thought of standing up there in front of the executive team is making their palms sweat and their mind race.
And their internal monologue is just stuck on this repeating loop. I just can't do this yet. I'll do it when I feel confident. It's a trap so many of us fall into, right? We kind of see confidence as this magical, mystical force that's eventually just going to arrive out of thin air, like a package in the mail. The thought process is, if we just wait long enough or overthink it enough, the confidence will finally show up, and then we can take the stage.
But then, a trusted colleague pulls them aside and completely shatters this waiting game with a piece of advice that totally flips the script. They say, "Don't wait for confidence, start before you feel ready." Now that sounds totally counterintuitive at first. It almost feels reckless. I mean, how are you supposed to start if you don't even feel ready?
Well, that actually leads us to the core thesis of this whole explainer. What if confidence comes after action, not before it? What if we've basically had the sequence backward this entire time? We're going to completely rewire how you look at self-assurance by breaking down 5 key ideas that prove action is actually the engine of confidence.
Okay, our first key idea. Confidence is built by doing.
See, your brain is actually incredibly logical when it comes to self-belief. It needs undeniable proof of your abilities. You can't just trick it by standing in front of a bathroom mirror shouting positive affirmations. We call this the confidence-competence loop. And the secret? It doesn't start with confidence. It starts with action. When you take an action, even a really small, terrifying one, you gain experience. That experience slowly starts building your competence. And once your brain actually sees that competence, once it gets that hard evidence, that is when confidence is generated, which, of course, fuels more action. It's this brilliant positive spiral, but you literally have to turn the key by taking that first action.
To put that into perspective, let's say you're absolutely terrified of public speaking. You don't go out and book a keynote at some massive industry conference. No way. You begin by giving a simple 5-minute update to your own project team. It's a low-stakes environment, people you already know, and by doing that, you're giving your brain the exact evidence it needs. It says, hey, I spoke for 5 minutes and the world didn't end. That little bit of action creates your very first drop of confidence.
Which brings us right to our second idea. Break big challenges down into small steps.
A major trap we fall into is jumping straight into the most intimidating version of a new skill. And honestly, that's just a recipe for disaster. It can actually severely damage your confidence. Instead, you want to use progressive challenges. Start with that team update. Once you've practiced that and feel okay, step it up to a department presentation. Then, with that new evidence logged in your brain, you tackle a client presentation. And finally, you are ready for that big executive presentation. Every single small victory builds the structural foundation for the next challenge. You're systematically expanding your comfort zone, one step at a time.
But listen, we need a reality check here, which was our third idea: accept discomfort and mistakes.
Stepping out of your comfort zone is naturally going to cause anxiety, but we have to reframe how we view that anxiety. If you're heading into new territory, you're going to feel vulnerable. You're going to make mistakes. It's literally an unavoidable feature of the process, not a bug. The old mindset tells us that feeling uncomfortable means we're failing, but the new mindset, the accurate one, understands that feeling uncomfortable actually means you are actively learning. A moderate level of stress sharpens your attention, so the trick isn't to fight the feeling. Just accept that it's there, acknowledge it, and carry on anyway.
So what does this look like in the real world? Imagine a presenter who's speaking to a group and just completely blanks on a single point. With the old mindset, they'd panic and label the whole thing a massive failure. But with the new mindset, they accept the mistake is just part of the learning curve. They shrug it off, maybe laugh about it, and just push forward to the next point rather than deciding the entire presentation was ruined.
Which flows perfectly into idea number 4. Focus on the next action.
When things inevitably do go wrong, you stumble over a word, the tech completely fails, whatever it is, you cannot let yourself spiral into catastrophic thoughts. Think of it like an athlete. If they make a mistake in the middle of a game, they don't just stop and agonize over it, right? They immediately focus on the next play. By forcing your brain to focus entirely on the very next thing you need to do, you consume your mental capacity, which literally blocks out all those anxious, self-defeating thoughts. For example, you mess up a line during a speech. Don't freeze. Just calmly correct it, take a deep breath, and instantly redirect 100% of your mental energy to the very next sentence on your outline. You fix it, and you move on. And finally, we reach our fifth idea.
Practice realistic optimism.
Optimism is a superpower, for sure, but there's a huge difference between blind, naive optimism and prepared confidence. The formula here is realism plus optimism. If you only have blind optimism, you might just assume a challenge will be super easy, you won't prepare, and you'll be in for a brutal wake-up call. Optimism gives you the drive and belief. Realism ensures you honestly recognize the risks, the potential mistakes, and the roadblocks. When you combine them, you actually put in the hard work required to succeed.
Grounding this in a real scenario. Think about heading into a really high-stakes meeting. Realistic optimism is believing that you have a great idea and you can totally win their approval. But the realism part kicks in by forcing you to actually prep for the difficult questions and the pushback. You don't ignore the risks, you prepare for them, all while keeping that positive mindset.
So, let's bring this all the way back to our employee from the opening story. They're up there presenting to senior management. Are they suddenly fearless? No. Are they perfect? Definitely not. But they are armed with the tools to act anyway. They started small. They accepted the discomfort. They stayed present when they stumbled, and they prepared realistically. They built their confidence through the sheer act of doing.
Which leaves us with this. What are you waiting to feel confident about that you could start practicing today? Don't wait for that magic feeling to arrive. Take the first imperfect step, embrace the discomfort, and watch the confidence follow.